Let's build a budget together in Pholeo. So what we're taking a look at is an example of DemoCon 25, and we are starting to build out the shell of what our budget is going to take shape to look like. In this dashboard view, we're starting to see some of our budget areas, which are tracking our attendee, our executive, and our staff crew production budget areas with cost centers of the attendee breaks, executive A offices, and staff offices. All of these totals are coming directly from the items that we've created, and let's walk through an example of how to add another executive cost center to our executive budget. To do this, I'm going to switch over to the Kanban view, which is going to give me a day-by-day layout of all of the services that we are providing. In this, I've created some templates, which one of those is the executive office template, which allows me to easily duplicate into another service. So I'm going to duplicate this item and I'm going to call this executive office B, right? So let's call this exec B. And I'm going to copy this to our office start dates, which is going to be Monday, October 6th. And as soon as I click that button, I'm going to scroll over to October 6th, and we now have that Executive B office in here. So just as simply as those clicks of a button, I now have all of these products and services duplicated over to this Executive B office. Now, when I click on details, I have the ability to identify the location for this. So let's quickly assign this to a office where our Executive B is going to be stationed, and I can identify a start and an end time to this. So we said this was going to be Monday, October 6th, and our start time for this office is going to be, let's call it 7 a.m. And our end time can also be 7 p.m. So as soon as I click on that date, it remembers that I am going into the future. So I want to identify this as 7 p.m. In here, I'm clicking save, and we don't have a budget area assigned as of yet. So to do that, I'm going to drop this down and click on the executive budget area, which attaches it to that top level executive area, but I need to create another cost center for executive B. So I'm going to click on the add cost center button on the item level here, and we can already see that because we've allocated this to the budget area of executive, we have executive A down here with one item, and to this, I'm going to add executive B. And when I add that, it automatically assigns our executive B here. And in doing so, I've allocated this $890 directly to that overall dashboard, which now gives us the representation of our executive B, and we see a working total of the two cost areas together summed up to our executive, which if we take all of the inclusive totals from top to bottom, we're going to see that $300,000 price starting to take shape. So now that we've duplicated into executive B, it's as simple as cloning that down the line to make all of your executive B offices for the rest of the week, as simple as pressing the duplicate button, copying that over to our Tuesday, duplicating the item, and adjusting from there. Because we've already assigned this, we have the budget area and cost center already assigned, and we are good to go. So in a matter of minutes, you can build an entire mock budget or existing budget or a budget scenario right within Pholeo, making those budget areas and cost centers reflect what stakeholders want to see most.